Hey, 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 welcome to Becoming a Powerhouse Brand podcast. I'm Jackie Laws, personal brand visibility and empowerment mentor for heart-led, impact-driven entrepreneurs who know they are here to change lives with their magic and build a dream life by design while they do it. This is where we blend soul, strategy and subconscious work to help you stand out as the leader you already are. We talk identity shifts, confidence, energetics, and the real behind the scenes of building a brand that feels aligned, magnetic, and apologetically you. If you are ready to take center stage in your life and business, you are in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Today I was going to talk about manifestations and making small shifts in how you can make changes in your everyday life. So I think in the online space at the moment, well, not just at the moment, but for years, it has been around, if you want to manifest something, it's got to be those big things, the private jets and the yachts and the big lifestyles and the 10K months and the 30K months and the 60K months, all of these massive things. And I think for so many people that are maybe in that early to mid stage of their business and life, that actually for some people we actually just want to focus on those everyday small shifts that will naturally lead into the bigger shifts anyway. And I thought, what better person to have on the show to have a conversation about this than the lovely Anna May, my manifestation little guru. Anna, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Such a pleasure to be here, my darling.
I'm excited for this conversation. I just thought this is the sort of conversation that we would have anyway. And I thought, well, why don't we just record it? Because I think so many people need to hear it today, don't they?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree, darling. This is what I am all about. This is what I teach is cutting through the hype and just teaching real manifestation in real life for real people and stop trying to manifest a mansion when in reality you are like panicking about paying your MOT.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think one thing, so I heard something today that was about expanding your capacity and being able to hold. So I think for a lot of people, we go into not even programs, but we're taught to set those goals and to then like triple or double it and really go big and really aim high. But actually, if aiming high completely goes against your nervous system, your limiting beliefs, if your subconscious doesn't feel safe holding that, you're going to self-sabotage every single stage, aren't you?
Absolutely. And I've experienced that in my own life, Jackie. We've spoken about this and I've seen it so many times with the clients that I've worked with over the years that I think we get caught up and swept up in all of that hype about
Mm.
wanting the huge amounts of money and wanting all of these things. And I'm a real believer that actually, I've got huge goals, as have you. I want to live a truly abundant, really fulfilling big life, but I know that it's a process and we need to enjoy the journey. And I think what most people are doing is they're trying to kind of manifest this big dream life when, as you said, their beliefs and their everyday thoughts and feelings and actions are just not in alignment with that. And then what happens is they end up doubting themselves even more. And then they're stuck in this energy of lack and scarcity and beating themselves up. Like, why can everybody else seem to do this and I can't? And
Yeah.
the reason of that is because I'm a firm believer and we absolutely manifest what feels really, really normal to us. And so if your normal has been years and years of programming that money is not freely available and that you've always had this kind of lack mindset around money and you've been growing up maybe with your parents arguing around money and money has felt scary, for you to suddenly try and manifest 10K months, it's just not going to happen. Versus if you're somebody that's had a really good upbringing financially, that you've never had to worry about money, that money's always been there and it's felt effortless and easy, of course that's going to feel much, much easier for you because that is your normal. And that's what I'm really about helping people with. You mentioned, Jackie, about like expanding that capacity to hold. For me, it's about teaching people that yes, you can have all of those big dreams, you can have all of those big goals. Absolutely, you can manifest all of that. But you have to start from where you are now. You have to accept where you are now. You have to make peace with where you are now and let go of the past and make that decision that this isn't about making dramatic statements. It's not about trying to achieve these huge things if you don't feel safe holding it. It's about how do I expand that capacity to hold it? How do I start feeling a little bit better? And the key for me is about learning how to feel good in the now is how do I still feel good when I'm in debt? How do I still feel good when I'm lonely and I want love? How do I still feel good when I haven't even earned £2,000 a month yet in my business? How do I still feel good? Because that is where the magic is. That's when we manifest, when we start to feel good, when our energetic state is good, and then it's aligned with everything that we want.
Yeah, it's so true. So, how can we start making those changes in our day? And I know I talk a lot about putting yourself first, the self love, self trust, doing things for you, doing things that feel good in your energy. But what would you give as some advice to someone that's just like, okay, I'm in this stage now. I've kind of been following the hype for all this time. I'm ready to just start at my own speed and actually strip everything back. Like, what would be that first thing that that person could do?
So the first thing that I would say to anybody in that situation is get really, really clear on what you want. So not what you think you should want, not what everybody else on Facebook has, not what everybody else in the industry has. What do you want? Because ultimately, I think so many of us for so long have been chasing other people's dreams,
Mm,
chasing other people's goals. Like Jackie, we've had this conversation. For us, success is being in a beautiful home, being baking sourdough, having the dogs around your feet, having chickens in the garden. That's what success is to us.
yeah.
But to some other people, that might be being able to fly on private jets and wearing Louboutin shoes all the time. And that's perfectly magical too, right? But the thing is, if you're chasing somebody else's dream, it's never going to be in alignment with who you are. So that is the first thing that I would say is allow yourself some time to actually get really clear on what you want. Like, what does your perfect day look like? Take out the shoulds, take out everybody else, and just look at actually what would light my world up. Like, how do I want to feel every day? Where do you want to wake up? Like, does that just want to be about peace and freedom? And that could just be living in a two-bed cottage by the sea with 8 cats, right? It doesn't matter because it's what's
Mm,
important to you. So that's the key thing that I would say is about really recognizing what you want in your life. And then the next step is really about looking at what is holding you back from achieving that. So really getting clear on your belief systems. Beliefs are paramount to manifestation, and I think so many people bypass it because they've learnt the hype. So they're plastering the affirmations, the journaling, the meditation, all of this stuff that you see online. And I truly believe that those tools are amazing, but they're amazing when you do them alongside the deeper work.
yeah.
And that's what I teach because I think we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. We're constantly reaching for these huge, stretchy goals that feel too unachievable. If we can bring it back to what we want and work out what's holding us back, one of the lines that I love that I always use is like, get really curious. Like, get curious about why it's holding you back, and start just making these small shifts every day. But the trouble is, what most people aren't doing is they haven't even got that clarity in the first place. So, how can you manifest whatever you want if you haven't got that clarity? It's about really knowing what it is that you want and knowing what is holding you back from getting that. Because when you know what you want, you can then start the process of how do I then achieve that. But I think, as silly as it sounds, I speak to so many people and they're like, I don't know what I want. I don't know who
Mm,
I am anymore. So that would always be my first tip is get really clear. And when I say, what do you want? You don't need to know exactly what that looks like. But the thing that I always focus on with people is the feeling. How do you want to feel? Because feeling is everything. So
yeah.
if you know, like we know, our life, our dream life for us is about freedom. It's about nature. It's about family. It's about dogs. It's about that real, like, waking up in the morning and just feeling relaxed and at ease. It's the feeling that we crave, isn't it? It's the peace that we crave. It's the freedom, it's the expansion, it's the joy that we crave. And everybody that I speak to, it's the feelings that they're craving. Yet we've been so caught up in this world that actually we just got to keep chasing the actual things. But the reality is actually what most people want is the feelings that those things give us. So I teach people, how do we focus then on feeling that thing right now, every day before you've even got it?
Mm. I think it's really interesting. One thing that I've definitely noticed myself is as an Aries woman and someone that's always been, it's been drummed into me from an early age, like work really hard, do this, constantly set the next goal, chase, chase, chase. It's kind of, that's been my normality for most of my life. And I think one thing that I've had to really learn to do is to allow slow days and spaciousness, and that actually having a day off, not working on the business, just doing stuff that lights me up. That was such an alien concept to me not so long ago, but actually that's what's really helped to move everything forward so much quicker. So I think for anyone listening to this that is in that same headspace of, but things are really bad at the moment, or I've got debt, or I've got bills to pay, like I can't possibly take time off work because I need this money to come in. I think when you come from that place of need and lack, you're repelling the very thing that you want. Whereas when you open yourself up to receiving, you're actually going to allow that to come in, aren't you? And Anna, we have been on our Wealthy Women Days, and I can't remember when we had our first one now. Was it a year ago?
I think it was about a year ago. Yeah.
So Anna and I go on our Wealthy Women Days, which is a day we spend together, and we just live our most joyful, like abundant self, and we really get into that feeling of already having the things that we want. So we had our first one at Bicester Village, and our second one actually. And I, on that first one, I said to Anna, I was not going to spend anything. I wasn't even going to buy myself a coffee. And I didn't. And yet on that day, we were both on fire, weren't we?
We were buzzing. And I remember turning to you at the end of that, Jackie, at that day, Jackie, and saying, this is the magic, Jack. Like, this is what I teach. This is the frequency. This
Yeah.
is the frequency of wealth. We've spent no money, and yet we feel incredible. We feel wealthy because we are going into these shops, we're trying on the clothes, we're spraying the perfume, and we're stepping into that identity. And this is what manifestation is all about. It is about that identity. And I think, like you said, Jack, what you were saying there about the whole kind of like hustle culture, and we've been taught that actually, you've got to keep going and you've got to keep pushing and you've got to keep hustling. That then becomes your identity, that is the only way that you can achieve success is through that form. And what I've learned myself is that it's actually, we've been doing it completely wrong. It's like completely the opposite way round, because when we are always on the go, when we're constantly pushing, when we're constantly pushing through and we're exhausted and we're burning out and we're overwhelmed, we are not allowing the divine inspiration to come in. We are not allowing the time to trust ourselves because we haven't given ourselves the space, like you said, to receive. Like, I know since my life has been, since I've taken a step back, since I've allowed myself to go a little bit slower, I receive divine inspiration. I get ideas all the time. I've got insane clarity about my mission and what I want to achieve. I never could do that when I was racing around, when I was on a
Mm,
mill, when I was chasing. When I allowed myself to step back, get really clear about what I wanted, and then to allow myself the time and the space to go a bit slower. And I want to be really clear about this because I know that there's some people out there thinking, oh, well, yeah, it's all very well for you to say that, and people used to say that to me, oh, it's all right, you haven't got a job, you can go slow. Here's the thing though, I work harder now on my business than I have ever worked on anything in my entire life, but I am lit up because I am doing work that I love. I'm making an impact, I'm making a difference. I work really, really hard, but that feels different when you're in the energy of doing work that you love and allowing yourself to have that space as well. It's this
mm,
beautiful fine balance, isn't it? I'll be studying till 1 o'clock in the morning, but then I also honor myself enough that if I then want to have a bit of a nap the next day, or I want to just go and have a coffee with a friend, or I want to go and do an hour walking in nature, I will do that. But I allow myself that time because without that, I am overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, I'm on the go, I'm pushing. And here's one of the things I've learned: when we are pushing in terms of manifestation, we are in a lack scarcity energy. We are saying, this is hard. I have to work really hard. I have to keep going. Even if I'm exhausted, even if I'm drained, I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going because that is the only way that things are going to flow in. When we relax, when we open ourselves up to receive, we are saying to the universe, it gets to be easy. I believe that I can achieve everything that I want. I believe that the clients can come in when I'm gardening. I believe that the money can flow in when I'm having a bath. Because yes, I'm going to do the work. Yes, I'm going to show up for myself every day, but I'm going to do it in a way that feels good, in a way that feels aligned, in a way that feels in the flow. And then that's when everything starts coming in.
mm. It's so true. And I think one thing I've definitely noticed is this is a very challenging thing to do as an entrepreneur, especially if you're a number of years into business, because you've got so sucked into, okay, well, to build a successful business, you need to have or know about sales funnels, automations, branding, mindset work. Like there's so many areas. Like as entrepreneurs, we learn so much. It's not like when you're in kind of an employed career where you go into your lane and maybe you work yourself up the career ladder and you've got your one specialism. As an entrepreneur, you've got to be a marketer and a brand person and a salesperson all in one. So we've got all this information and this feeling of, well, if I don't know that or if I don't implement that, then I'm going to be behind. But actually, we're always in that chase mode or hustle mode. And I think for the majority of entrepreneurs, that hustle culture is kind of the norm, isn't it? Like in the beginning stages, but it's once you realize that that isn't the only way to do business, and actually that's going to do more harm for you achieving your goals than good.
I
But yeah,
And I think the thing is, what, as you know, Jackie, one of the things that I teach is manifestation for me is about staying in a good state as often as possible.
yeah,
Not all the time, not 24/7 hours a day, not permanently being high vibe, but having a good state as your default state. What most people are doing is they're doing it the other way round and they're living in this negative state where things feel really heavy and things feel really hard. And they're coming out of that and then they're going straight back to it because that's their normal state, and we manifest what feels normal to us. So I teach that actually your only job is to feel good every day, and when you can keep coming back to that feel good state, when you can do the little shifts every day that are going to keep coming back to that state, that feel good state is then your normal state, and then life feels easier, and then you have more energy. So here is the irony, right? I now have more energy than I ever had before. I now work harder than I ever had before. I now need less sleep than I ever had before. And I work really hard on my business, but I feel good. So it doesn't feel stressed. It doesn't feel like hustle. It doesn't feel like hard work. And that's what I teach, because if we're doing everything from this state of lack and scarcity and overwhelm, that's what we're manifesting back to us. But if we can go, actually, how do I focus on that good state being my main job every day? And I just show up for myself, but I show up for myself from that good state. Life feels so much easier. And when you're in the flow, when you're in alignment with your business, when you are doing work that you love, I'm a true believer that actually it gets to be easy. And that doesn't mean that you don't work really bloody hard, but it gets to feel easy. And that's when the shift is then, when you can keep yourself back in that good state.
yeah. I think manifestation is one of those things that you can see a lot of hype around it. There's a lot of different approaches when it comes to manifestation, and you see the I manifested £1 million in my pants kind of posts. And I think if you see content like that, and yes, you can absolutely manifest anything, like it's limitless, isn't it? What you can
Yeah.
manifest. But I think for anyone that sees content like that, that comes from a money mindset lack, or they've grown up around debt, or money just not being available, feeling like they just didn't have all the luxuries in life, seeing content like that, it would be very easy. And I know I've heard it from other people that manifestation just wouldn't work for me. It's going to work for them because they come from that background. What
Yeah.
would you say to that person? Because I know for a fact that that's not true, but what would you say?
Absolutely. And I would say that the only reason that that is not working for them is because they are manifesting from their identity. So their identity is somebody that has never had money, that it feels like money is hard, that it feels like money is scarce. So it doesn't mean that manifestation doesn't work, but we manifest from our identity. So what we can do is we can help you shift your identity so that your identity becomes somebody who can hold money, where it does feel natural for money to flow in, that you can be somebody that releases the debt. So you're not trying to be somebody else that's manifesting £1 million. You're focusing back in on yourself and saying, okay, what if it didn't always have to be this way? What if I could step into a version of me that could feel a bit easier around money? And I take people through a really simple process, just teaching them how this isn't about fake positivity. It's not about sticking a plaster on things. It's about, let's be really real with where I am now. Let's have real compassion for myself, because actually where we are now is just, so much of it is down to what we've experienced. We've all experienced different things. We've got different beliefs around money. And so actually just having compassion for where you are now, but recognizing that you're your situation with money, with love, with relationships, with your business, whatever it may be, with health, that does not have to be your identity. It does not have to be. You have the power to change that, and you can change that, and you can change that gradually. And Jackie, we've been friends for a while now. We know each other's stories, and I'm someone that spent many, many, many years in debt, back against the wall, credit cards maxed out, like things bouncing. I know what it feels like to be an Audi and your card declines.
Mm,
Some of these people that are manifesting, talking about manifesting millions, can never in a million years imagine what that ever feels like, right? But I love this work and I'm so passionate about this work because I am somebody that has had that has felt that has had these really poor beliefs around money, that has been able to work through it and now has got a good relationship with money, and not just with money, with pain, with health, with so many things. But I've managed to change my identity, and I've managed to be somebody and become somebody that actually has a good relationship with money. So now that we are practically debt free, now money does flow in with ease, and now I can keep setting bigger and bigger goals, but I do it all the time with my current identity, and I level up gradually, and I work on what feels safe for me right now, what feels good for me to hold. We've had this conversation just at the weekend, Jackie, like concentrating on how would it feel to be getting 5K a month. That feels really good. That feels safe. That feels exciting. It feels stretchy. But actually, it's not too wild that my subconscious is going to go, don't be ridiculous. You can't earn that. But most people are in this state of going, I'm really worried that my credit card's coming in and don't know how to pay for it. And I'm still trying to manifest 100K months. Like, it's just not going to happen.
yeah.
But if you brought it right back to basics, had compassion with where you are, and said, how about I work on feeling a little bit better? And that's what I teach. How every day can I feel a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better? How can I feel good for 10 minutes today? This isn't about like just ignoring how I'm feeling. It's about recognizing it, and it's about saying, how can I feel good even when my back is against the wall? How can I feel good when my card's declining? How can I feel good when that bill comes in the post and I'm horrified? How can I keep coming back to that good state? Because when we anchor in the feeling of what the money gives us, what the love gives us, what all of those things give us, when we recognize what the feeling is and we can keep coming back to that feeling, that's when everything changes.
Yeah. And one thing that I love that you've like shown me how to do is appreciating small things as well as big things. So it's all very well when you have a business, it could be amazing. You might get a paying full client, incredible. But it's
Yeah,
the small everyday things like I sold something on Vinted for £2.50. Like
yeah,
it's such a tiny thing, but celebrate those small things and that can make a huge
absolutely.
difference. I know you celebrated a £14 refund, didn't you?
Yeah, like literally last week, it was insane. My husband messaged me saying, "Oh my gosh, you've got £14 refund coming into the bank. TY, which is thank you, thank you, thank you." So we say thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Practice massive gratitude. It's a huge part of my life. Every single thing that comes into my life, whether it's a penny I find on the street, I pick it up, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I'm saying to the universe, I like this, please, more of this, please. I know that abundance is all around us, and I'm recognizing that. I'm not ignoring it. I'm really grateful for everything. Gave massive thanks for £14 coming in, and then on Friday received an email with a compensation for £14,500, which is something that we've been waiting for 5 years, that we were told we were never ever going to get. But I believe in magical miracles, and every day, and I wake up and I say I believe in magic and miracles, and miracles happen, and I know that. But I am truly grateful, and I am a huge believer, Jackie, as you said, that when we focus on the little things, they magnify and they amplify, and then the big things come in. But when all we're focused on is, I will only be happy when I have my £1 million house, I will only be happy when I'm at 10K months, I'll only be happy when I find the love of my life, I'll only be happy when I have this, we're giving our power away to those external forces. The work that I teach is so grounded. It's like, but how can I feel happy now? Because when I feel happy now, those things are going to flow in so easily. So
Yeah.
that would be a massive tip that I would give to anybody listening to this is like, particularly when it comes to money or anything really, like start making a note of it. If you find £1 down the back of the sofa, say thank you, thank you, thank you. Write it down in a little notepad. You know, if somebody buys you a coffee, be super grateful and say thank you and put it in your notepad. When we start recognizing the tiny, tiny wins, we are saying to the universe, I'm so grateful. I am here for this, more, 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 more. And you are amplifying it. And what's happening is your subconscious is seeing, it's recognizing that, oh, I'm grateful for this. Oh, I'm going to seek out more opportunities. I'm going to bring more of this in. But if you're never grateful for anything, you're never saying thanks for anything, you're never even noticing any of the little wins, why are you going to be provided with so much more of it? I really
Mm.
believe that.
Yeah. And some of the small wins, it could be things like every single time I go in the car with my kids, if the lights are all green, every
Yeah,
single time there's a set of green lights when we're approaching it, me and the kids were always, thank you, universe, thank you. Like always being grateful for that
absolutely.
little things. And that's not even a monetary thing, but it's just those
Absolutely.
little things in your day that just make things easier, make things move and flow better.
It is, and they're the little things that I love. And I've been practicing manifestation since 2010. And hand on heart, my favorite manifestations are always the little ones. They're always the tiny ones where I'll be like, oh, I was thinking about that and it happened. Or it will be like, oh, I want this. I would really love to find this velvet chair in green, and I go on Facebook Marketplace and it's there and I get it for free, right? Like they're my favorite, and they happen all the time. They're my favorite manifestations. I've manifested some pretty big things in my life, but honestly, the tiny ones are always for me the most exciting things. And I think the more that you focus on those tiny things, the more that you notice them. And where our focus goes is where everything amplifies. What most people are doing is spending all day focusing on what they don't want, and therefore they're just attracting more of that back in. When you focus on what you want, when you focus on what you're grateful for, when you focus on every tiny little win and you have immense gratitude for that, that's when things start coming in. That's when life feels so much easier.
Yeah. And it's having fun with it, isn't it? It's being playful rather than
Absolutely.
I would really like to have this thing. And I think a lot of people get stuck into their writing their wish list of things saying, I would really like this, and this. But it's more about playing, isn't it? It's about
It
really having fun with it. So I said at the beginning of the year, how fun would it be if for my 40th birthday, I'm going to go to New York with my mum and I'm going to do all this amazing stuff and I'm going to go and what else did I say? I can't remember what it was, but anyway, I'm going to New York. My mum literally booked a trip for me to go to New York, like didn't even know it was
is.
happening. And it's like I've literally just put that out there and said, wouldn't that be fun? And
Yeah,
it's manifested. And I think even the dress I'm wearing to my brother's wedding next month, I said, I would love to wear this dress I had about 12 years ago. It's not even made anymore. You can't get it anywhere. I just happened to go on Vinted. And what do I see on the very first screen? The exact same dress in the size that I needed. Like, it's
I
the
know.
small things, isn't it?
It is, and it blows my mind. It's like it's just I mean, it's not magic, it is science, but it's so bloody magical. It
Yeah.
really is. And I love those little things. And what I teach is that like manifestation should feel easy because we are manifesting all the time. And when you really truly embody this work and when you really learn how it works, you don't even intentionally have to think about things. When you start to expect better things, when you start to expect that, why would that not happen? Things do get to be easy. I do get to always get the best parking space. I do get to always get the best deals when I go to Aldi. I always expect gifts from people. I always expect somebody to give me a compliment every day. Like, it's about, for me, manifestation is really about like loving yourself enough and honoring yourself enough and working on your identity as somebody that life gets to feel good. Like, that life does get to feel easy, and it can when you gradually start to shift it and start to shift your focus to the good things that are happening in your life, no matter how tiny they are. When you start to focus on them, so much more of it's going to come into your life. It's just so important. But most people are doing it the wrong way round. They're focusing on all the negative things, and the trouble is, when that is your natural default state, and your natural default state is a negative, low energy, low vibe, you are just attracting more and more and more and more in. So it's really important that if you are somebody that you feel like you're in that state, you absolutely can change. You can
Mm.
change your state gradually. You can move into it. I've worked with so many people that have come to me going, "Oh my God, Anna, I talk negatively all the time. My mindset's really poor. My mindset's really negative. And then when they work with me, I help them shift it really gradually. And suddenly they start focusing on the good things. They start lifting their head up. They start being more grateful. And as if by magic, good things start coming into their life. And then the more good things that start coming in, the more they believe they're worthy of it. And the more they believe that they can do it. So the more comes in. It's
Yeah.
like really simple, but most people are doing it the wrong way round. They're living in this low energetic state and they're feeling like the only way they can feel good is when they have the 10K months, when they have the money, when they have the house, when they have the success. When we bring it back down to basics and just remember that it's about how we're feeling right now. If we can feel good now, then we will magnetize all of those things in so much easier.
Yeah. And I would, hand on heart, say that 5 years ago, I was very much in that low frequency, low vibe stage. Like I didn't have any friends nearby. I was feeling in a real state of lack. I was struggling financially. Like everything just felt hard. And
Yeah,
every day I remember saying to myself, like, right, I need to do this today because if I don't do that, then I'm not going to get that result whilst having a little baby with me. And it was
yeah,
just everything just felt hard. But actually, I made the decision in that moment that this wasn't going to be my life anymore.
yeah.
And it was small steps. And I think it's very easy for someone that is in that low stage at the moment to think, well, that's just not possible for me, or like maybe there is a quick fix. I don't think there is a quick fix. It does take time. It's those little actions every single day. So
It
for
is.
me, I would say it took me a good 18 months for
Yeah.
me to look back and think, oh my God, look at how far I've come, because you don't realize the compound effect of all those daily shifts that are happening. And now I've got incredible friends, like the connections I'm getting that are coming into my world now are literally just being magnetized to me, and the opportunities, the clients, like everything that's happened, even since last year. Me and Anna only met at the beginning of last year. Um, and yet, like we've just become like absolute soul sisters. And we have so many, like our past is like the same. It's so weird.
It is. I love it so much. And it's so true, Jackie. When you were saying that, like, one of the girls in my academy, she always says, like, when she joined, she was so negative and she found some journals recently and she was like, I was cringing reading them. She's like, I can't even believe that was me. But gradually now she's just in this, and she's just completely different. And I literally see people transform in front of my very eyes because it's like the pressure starts to release. They start to see that actually we do create our own reality,
Yeah.
and they just see that it's absolutely possible that when you start seeing life differently, life starts responding to you differently. And just quickly going back to you there, Jackie, what you were saying about, I'm really about real life. I'm not about sugarcoating stuff. I'm not about just think positive. I'm not that at all. I'm very much about like having compassion for where you are now, as I said earlier, but I am very much about celebrating every aspect of how you're feeling. So I had a lady recently that was like, I've recognized that actually I am so negative. And I was like, do you know what? I'm really proud of you because you recognize that you're really negative, right? And so a lot of people don't even have that self-awareness, but you've got that self-awareness, so we can build on that. And self-awareness for me is absolutely key. It's everything, because once you have self-awareness, you can change. If you
Mm.
don't have self-awareness, you can never change. So actually, what I would say to anybody listening that feels like, oh gosh, I am quite negative, like rather than beating yourself up, thinking, just kind of think, but I know that. So if I know that and I want to change, then I can change. And you absolutely can. I've seen hundreds of people change. And like you said, Jackie, it's not overnight, it takes work. But actually, is it worth the work? Absolutely, it is. To do those small shifts, those daily habits. That's what I teach every day, changing a little bit here, a little bit there, so that you're moving into this good state. So that even if you are somebody that feels like your identity at the moment is everything is hard, everything feels like real effort, and it's challenging, and you're in this negative mindset, you can actually shift through that. You can change your identity one day at a time.
I love that. Right, to finish off, Anna, I would love you to share about your academy just because I'm in it as a member anyway. And I just think more people need to know about this kind of space because it is so safe, so supportive. You've got the most gorgeous people in there. So just tell us what the academy is and who it's for and how it can help.
Thank you, darling. So I set my academy up, it was about 18 months ago now. And the reason that I did it was that because I was teaching manifestation and Part of my story is that I suffered with chronic pain for most of my adult life, and I wore a mask. I didn't tell anybody that I was in absolute agony every day, and it was utterly exhausting. And I went on a mission of joy. I healed my way to happiness. And then I got to a point that I thought I was really masking things. And so, how many other people are out there masking and not telling people how they're feeling, and they're in debt, or they're having relationship troubles, or they're worried about their kids, or all this stuff, daily life is happening to them, and they haven't got a space where they can share it. So I decided that I would create a community where we could learn and grow together, where I could teach my practices of manifestation and spirituality and personal growth. And basically, it's all about becoming the best version of yourself. But for me, the crucial part of the academy is it is a space where you can absolutely be yourself. If you want to come to a call and you're in floods of tears, everybody will hold you and support you. If you want to rock up in your pajamas and you're a hot mess, nobody cares. Everybody loves you anyway. It's all about having a space with no judgment, where everyone can learn, everyone can share, everybody has one same intention, and that is to be the very best version of themselves, not to be perfect, not to sugarcoat stuff, but to learn together, to go through like the path of life together, becoming the best version of ourselves, but actually having the right people around you when you do this work is so crucial, and it's so important. So I've created this space now. I think we've got around 65 members, and we basically have weekly live coaching. We have industry guest experts. We've got a summer party. We do events. There's loads of resources. We have a monthly prize draw. Like, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous community. It's only £37 a month. And the people that come in, they stay, because for me, I know that community is everything. Having the right people around you that love you, that support you, that want you to be the best version of yourself, and learning and growing together is just truly powerful, because collective energy is super powerful. And when we manifest as a group, that's so powerful, and the results we get in there are insane. So
Yes.
the doors are open. We want more amazing people to come in, share your magic, support other people, but be there to learn and grow yourself.
And like you say, when you're surrounded by those people that are on that same journey, that are here to create their own dream life or to impact the lives of others, like, it literally does expand that energy out there, doesn't it? I will pop the link in the show notes below so you can go and check out Anna's Academy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming back on the show. I'm sure you'll be back on again.
Ah,
Um,
my pleasure. Thank you, darling.
Thank you. And for anyone that has any questions, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you want to reach out to myself or Anna, do check the show notes below to find our social links. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Jack.
Bye.